This episode is brought to you by Naked Fig Soap. Shop over a dozen handcrafted artisan soaps locally sourced and made in Arizona using the finest non-toxic intentional ingredients. Naked Fig Soap also offers facial care products along with accessories like soap dishes, soap saver bags, and more.
Visit their website at nakedfigsoap.com and use code DRUMMINGUP, all one word, for 20% off online orders. And that is the best place to find her now.
Yes.
She doesn't really have a storefront so much as she has
As of right now.
Yeah, as of right now,
Yes.
she has her products in certain locations,
Yes.
which again is the best place to find her is at her nakedfigsoap.com website.
Yes.
Or her socials. Instagram is a great spot to find her. Ask her any questions where she's going to be at like a farmer's market.
Yes.
You can find all that out. Or
But coming up, she's
Yeah.
moving to bigger and better opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And we're very happy to hear that because,
Yes.
we just want to
She's
make
one
sure
of our
she's doing
favorite,
okay.
favorite companies.
Oh, yeah. Whenever we're getting low, we always place our order.
Yes.
And again, use that code drumming up,
Yes.
all one word, to get that 20% off discount.
For sure.
nakedfigsoap.com. It'll be in the show notes. We'll have her website. And then the best thing to do is from the website, go find her socials, follow her. That helps her. And by you doing that, it helps us because we know you're listening and we know you're buying her great products. She also offers tattoo care and everything too.
Yes,
so
she does.
just a ton of stuff that she does. It's all locally made and everything. So what was that website again?
That is nakedfigsoap.com.
Using code drumming
Drumming
up,
Up.
all one word, for 20% off at checkout.
Hi there, this is Julian of Gorad, and you are listening to Drumming Up Conversation. Hell yeah.
Drumming up conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, yeah. Conversation. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Drumming Up Conversation. I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood. Intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement. You can find their music anywhere you listen to your favorite music. If you have any questions, email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Drumming Up Conversation and on X at Drum Conversing.
2 words for you.
Yep. Listen to our podcast, our audio podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can watch it on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe,
Give us a rating.
give us a rating, and
5-star
tell a
review,
friend.
comment, all that good stuff. Yeah, last week we had Mama Gracie on. That was a really fun episode. Even her son Chad commented on it, which is really cool. Still, again, my 13-year-old, 14-year-old self's like, what the hell? That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously today we have
Avery Ripley.
have our wrestling gear on because we're having Tony Vela from the Wrestling Store Guy store in Phoenix. He's coming on shortly. And so we finally get to talk wrestling
Yeah.
with another wrestling fan that isn't the kid. Isn't the three of us? So
Oh, and yesterday was Rey
Oh,
Mysterio Day.
yeah, June 19th. And I
Yaka booyaka.
sent a message to Andrea, like, Happy Rey Mysterio Day. And she's like, is that a real thing? I'm like, I don't know. It sounded good. And then sure enough, I went ahead and looked it up. And sure enough, it is. San
Yeah.
Diego
619.
on June 19th is Rey Mysterio Day. So I was like, ha. So yeah, that was
So after that, I listened to his walk-up music. The only time I will listen to POD.
And then today, Exigent just released a new single,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Yep.
Which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite one so far.
Yeah, it's really
So,
good. I
Like
like
the
it.
vocals were awesome on
Yeah.
it. Musicianship's just great. So
Everybody
really
check
cool.
them out. They're really, really cool,
yeah,
young, up
Yeah.
and coming band
yeah.
in Florida.
EXIGENT, and
Yep.
it has a little blue mark and everything. So yeah, definitely give them a listen. And so we'll go ahead and get into the episode with Tony here in a minute. Oh, all right. So today
Saying-
we're joined by Tony
Hold on.
Vela.
I had to hit okay. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. No, we're good. So yeah,
right.
today we're joined by Tony Vela, the wrestling store guy. You have a store in Phoenix. We just recently went there. Great store. How
It's
are
an
you?
awesome
Yeah.
store.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing, man?
Surviving the
Awesome.
heat.
Yeah. Our week's over, so we're
Yeah.
better now. But yeah.
Fridays. I remember having those days off.
Right. So where are you originally from?
Originally, I'm from California.
Okay.
My
Whereabouts in
wife imported
California?
me here in Phoenix. She imported me here in 2018.
Where'd you live in California?
A little bit all over the place, but I grew up in Los Angeles County, but grew up mostly in Orange County, many years in Yorba Linda. And then I moved down by the beach in San Juan Capo area. And then as my daughter got older, we started moving more inland for school and stuff. So I ended up in like Rancho Cucamonga area before I came here.
And she's from California.
Oh yeah, what
Down
part?
Kern County area.
Kern County? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
so Bakersfield area?
Yeah. A little more
Yeah,
central. Yeah. Yeah.
got it.
Everybody gives me shit about it.
Yeah, I mean it's one of my best friends lives out in Bakersfield and
Uh-huh.
we're always battling back and forth on which place is warmer because it gets really warm up there,
It
but
does. Yeah.
I don't think it hits the 120 marks.
Right. Right.
No, no, not yeah, for sure. So, how did you originally get into wrestling? What drew you to it?
Well, I mean, wrestling's been a lifelong thing. I mean, exposed to it as a kid, with my grandparents out of Los Angeles. I think I was probably 6 when I went to my first wrestling event with my grandfather and saw, guys like Andre the Giant wrestle and Classy Freddie Blassie. And, I'm already a little guy, but then you start seeing these guys, even from the seats that we had, look like giants. And you're just like, you're amazed by it. I grew up on TV shows like Land of the Lost and things like that, and you
Mhm.
start seeing these big guys and like, God, that guy looks like a slee sack over there, and that guy looks like a big old, it's just I just they're very vivid memories of mine from a very young age, and it just sort of stuck with you throughout my entire life. And as everything, it went through cycles where you're into it, you're not so into it, then you're into it, you're not so into it, but it just sort of stuck with me, for the most part. I mean, even to the point where when I was younger collecting, baseball cards and like that, I discovered, wrestling cards in like 1985, 86. And I've been collecting wrestling cards ever since. And that's kept me tied in with wrestling ever since.
Yeah, and
That's
you
cool.
told us a cool story about one of the cards helped you with where you're at right now. So
Yeah.
that was
That's
a very
awesome.
Yeah, I
cool
mean,
story.
yeah, when you collect for as long, and I don't collect like I used to. I used to be what's called a master set collector. So all those early years of things didn't have, multi levels of parallel and, 30 different versions and different colors of the same card kind of thing. And, one of ones, one number to five, number to 10, none of that stuff existed. So I collected everything. And then when it became like that, I just kind of gave up. I still kept track of the information of cards, but I just didn't collect like I used to because it just became, if I can't have it all, why get any of it kind of mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it gets you to the point where you almost just collect like your favorite. You go out and just look for the singles and stuff of your favorite wrestlers
And
instead of like full
yeah,
packs and
yeah, now that's how I am right now. I'm for the, in the last 4 years, I think now 3 or 4 years, for the first time ever, I'm what's called a player collector. So I just kind of randomly selected a wrestler, literally almost just kind of blind hit the wall, and I said, "Oh, Dexter Loomis, that's who I'm collecting now." And
nice.
that's who I collect. And I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's kind of what we do too. Recently, we got into Dom, just collecting a bunch of his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're big fans of like what he's doing and the role he's playing. And I'm always more of a heel fan anyway. So
Yes, same with me because I grew up in an era where well, first there wasn't even a Hogan when I got into wrestling, but then when Hogan had became very popular, I was never a Hogan guy. I was never a Hogan guy. I was never an Ultimate Warrior guy. I wasn't those guys. If I had to pick somebody, flip flop, face heel, I was a Savage guy. But my all-time
yes.
favorites were Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect.
And even like I got into like the guys like Roddy Piper that kind of walked the
Oh
line
yeah.
too. Sometimes like he was one of my favorites. I mean, I'm wearing a DX shirt, so I'm a big fan of those kinds of guys that kind of you're not sure if they're heel or baby face, but they're just fun. Steve
That's
Austin,
yeah, yeah.
recently, Seth freaking Rollins is kind of like that, where they're singing his song, but yet they boo him at the same time. So
Of course.
Yeah.
And and Cena's kind of getting that right now too, because while he's playing the heel, it's about 15 years too late, but he's playing the heel. Um, when that music hits, if you watch every time he comes out and the music hits, the very quick first couple seconds is a huge pop up. And then I was like, oh yeah, we're supposed to hit him. Boo,
Yeah.
you suck, Like so it's he's still very popular.
As soon as they see that backwards championship, they're like, "Oh yeah, we got to boo the guy." That's
Oh,
right.
that's right. I forgot we got to boo him.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the questions on here. I guess since we're on it, we can get into it. How do you feel about him being heel? I know you said 15 years too late. I agree, but better late than never too, because he.
Yeah, I'm liking the run. It's a different direction. I think it's fun. It's entertaining. Here we are talking about it, so that's exactly what they want us to do is talk about it. I get customers in the store all the time. That's what they ask. What do you think of Cena's heel turn? And I'm like, I like it. I think it's cool. I mean, um, uh, I remember when it first happened, everybody was speculating like this is monumental. This is like changing the business. And that's where people said, wait a second, it's not, no, it's not. This is not like, no, they said this is equivalent to when Hogan turned. And I'm like, I kind of, no, it's really not. When Hogan turned, that changed the business.
Yeah.
When with Cena turning, it's not changing anything other than just he's not a baby face, he's a heel.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and the part that hurt it too was WrestleMania Night 2 was when The Rock never showed up, and it kind of took a lot of it out of it. Uh,
Yeah. And I don't
I think
know,
if he
like
had
that's
shown up, it would have still maintained that maybe more monumental as they were saying, but that kind of took all the air out of that balloon too.
But even if he did show up, my point is about changing the business. Cena's heel turn, no matter what's involved in it, doesn't change the direction that wrestling is going. When Hogan turned, it changed the direction of what how wrestling was going. It made wrestling almost like reality show. Like we you couldn't really tell like what's is this really happening? Is it not happening? Or we're in the early years of the internet, so we still weren't really sure what's going on behind the scenes. Nash just launched Rey Mysterio like a lawn dart against that damn, trailers like that. Like that looked legit. Like what's going on?
From what Rey
We don't
Mysterio
live in
said
that
it
world anymore.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we don't live in that world anymore now. So we have social media that ruins everything for us. And but I like the direction of way things are going, where we're playing social media is playing into now the storylines of wrestling in the sense of like uh you know Drew McIntyre injured CM Punk last year, and all of a sudden that became like he's just instigating him via social media, like doing like the workout. Like today we're working on our traps, winking at the camera. It's like that, it's like just using social media as a tool to help further storylines. Knowing is our truth really let go, or is he just that part? I mean, what's happening here? Like we're all questioning it. We don't work behind the scenes, so we don't know. We can all say, well, such and such told me that the fans brought him back, because we don't know. Maybe we don't know, but we're talking about it and it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I love kayfabe. I hate when it gets ruined. So just, it's like magic to me. I don't want to know the truth all the time. I just like enjoying the story and seeing
Yeah,
what's happening. So,
I mean, think of like go back to yourself and think, what were the last like real surprise elements in wrestling, surprise appearances, surprise entries, kind of thing. I I think nothing for me, nothing is bigger for a surprise. The last really big surprise that shook things up, Eric Bischoff becoming general manager of Raw. Nobody knew. Nobody knew that. We had things like the Hardy Boys showing up at WrestleMania to begin a tag match like that. That was awesome. Edge coming back, for Royal Rumble. That was nobody knew that.
CM Punk's probably the most recent with just because up until he came out, like no, just to like no one ever thought he would step foot in a WWE arena
Well, we
ever
all
again.
thought
So
that, but the rumors have been circulating for months.
yeah,
So it wasn't like it was like, holy shit, this is really happening to to as opposed to like, oh my God, I can't believe this actually ever really happened. I never even heard this was going to happen. Like we
yeah,
had all been speculating on the internet about that.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
they did it perfectly where they had it at the end of Summer or Survivor Series where the credits are already up. Good night,
yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
We'll see you later.
yeah.
I guess he's not coming.
I know, and they kept chanting it. My brother's like, you think he's gonna come out? Like, there's no way in hell CM Punk's coming out, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, I look like an idiot now.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it. Because yes, you started showing the credits and everything, and they're just kind of panning out, and all of a sudden here he comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
that was a beautiful way to do it.
for sure.
Did you watch the show Heels?
Here's a fun fact about me: I don't watch any TV.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't watch wrestling. We don't watch wrestling at home. We don't. I keep track of wrestling, like I do every other sport. I'm a fan of all sports. College, maybe not so much, but everything else, I'm a fan of all sports. Where I treat it, social media keeps me up to date. If ESPN tells me there was an incredible play or this game was amazing, I'll go seek it out and watch it. Same with wrestling. Amazing match, man. You should have watched it last night on Raw or SmackDown or Dynamite. MJF got a great promo. Like, I'll go seek it out and I'll watch it. And that's how I keep track and keep up to date with everything that way. Otherwise, I think all we have at home is Disney Plus.
Wow. It's, on Heels, CM Punk was a character on there, and he was Ricky Rabies, and he just did an amazing job with it.
They're bringing that show back.
Are they really?
Oh, they finally,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. I
cool.
think it's coming back on Netflix.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they've been toying with it for I think a year now when they brought it on. Cool. And AJ
And
Lee
I
was on
worked.
there too. So
She was on an episode
he
too.
was,
I think like
yeah.
a season premiere of the last season. I think she was on that. And
Okay,
then
yeah.
the girl who plays one of the girls on that show, she was also, what TV show was she on? Or what movie? I Was that Mary McCormick that was on that show?
Yes, she was in it. Yeah.
So I worked with her once. She did I did a convention with her out in Burbank, called the Hollywood Show, and she did her convention debut last June, July. I think the last show they had there that I was at, and she was wonderful. And she's the one who told me that they're bringing it back.
Yeah. Uh, so do you go to wrestling events still? Yeah.
Major ones, not so much. Like, we
Hmm.
just had a string of major events come through the Phoenix. This last month has been like all the big three came through here in like a 3-week period. We had, AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Then we had TNA's Against All Odds pay-per-view like a week later, 2 weeks later, followed by their taping of Impact. And then 2 days later, we had Raw.
Yeah.
And the only one I went to was AEW's Double or Nothing, just so I can check it off the box of, like, I went to one of their pay-per-views. But I do
Wh-
go. I mean, I
yeah.
from time to time, like, I've taken Nick, who works here, so like that. I've taken him to a couple events before. We support a lot of local independent stuff. We're big fans of Phoenix Championship Wrestling. We've done Sonora Championship Wrestling. We've attended Lucha Voss. We've attended AWF. We've attended IZW. So we've done a lot of, you know, we're a store that's all inclusive. If you're into wrestling, I don't care what promotion you love. This is a store for you.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely felt that. So, yeah, we keep meaning to go to AWF events, but some like we always get like a reschedule that we have to do that evening and stuff. And they've been because
The
they
next
come out to
AWF
Gilbert.
is I think the next AWF is on the 28th. It's here in Phoenix at Bullshooters.
Okay, yeah, we
Yeah,
try to get to the one to Gilbert, but
I think they have former Cora Jade will be there that night too.
oh, nice.
That's also the Saudi Arabia.
Oh, it is. Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
do that in the evening because we have guests that morning. Yeah, shoot. There we
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, we it's gonna be Night of Champions here, even though it's Morning of Champions, but we got to watch it in the evening because yeah, we got a guest that night. So
So, what made you want to open up a wrestling store?
Thought about it years and years ago, but actually being in Los Angeles, our sister store is in Huntington Park, California, and run by David Gomez, and they are the OG for Wrestling Guy store. Been there, I think, probably 19 years now. But I used to book a lot of talent for his store. I brought him, China and Rob Van Dam and Hall and Nash and, lots of names I brought there over the years. And I thought about it, way back probably in the maybe early 2010s about opening something, because I was getting a little tired of traveling 35, 40 weekends a year doing conventions somewhere on this globe. But I'm like, I can't open one here, man. I live here in California. He already has one. I don't want to be another store here and compete with David. So when I met my wife at a convention, and then moved here into Phoenix in 2018. Around early 2019, I said, you know what? Maybe now is when I can start doing this. And then I represent Kurt Angle, and so he was working for the company at the time, and got us some tickets to go check out Raw and SmackDown because I wanted to see what kind of crowd, and started getting a sense of what kind of city this was when it comes to wrestling. And then COVID hit, and so kind of everything was on hold for everything. And then once we got out of that, I started making more of an effort to where am I gonna do this? I'm gonna do this, but where and how? And things started to kind of fall into place.
How did you get into wrestling promotion?
Meaning like promotion what?
Promoting like you said, you represented Kurt Angle.
As a booking agent, I've been doing
Okay.
that for 20 plus years. So it was a lot of movie, TV, musicians, and a lot of wrestlers. And wrestlers were a big part of my roster. Uh, you know, when you're doing that work, you have to separate, you have to take the fandom out and just know that. I remember when I first met Nash some 20 plus years ago. Uh, I I'm in my mind going like, I cannot believe I'm working with this guy. Like this is insanity to me. Like this is amazing. But you have to put that aside. Um, but a lot of wrestlers are easy to book at events. They fit into so many different genres. I can put them in a pop culture convention, a Comic Con, a horror convention, straight up wrestling convention. They just there are more opportunities to book them as opposed to working with certain types of talents that only work fit in certain genres. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Just getting into that kind of business, and I loved it. I was sad to retire from it officially in January this year, but in a way, I'm still kind of booking. I'm just booking for my store now,
Yeah, for sure.
and
And
not like I can't
yeah,
fall back into it anytime I want.
Right.
yeah, for sure. Because I'm sure you kept all those connections and everything too.
Of
So
course, and
yeah.
I'm utilizing all those connections now to
Mhm.
work deals to bring people in. Like just now, before I click the link to come on this like that, I got a message from Carlito about coming in here possibly, and we're working on a date.
Oh, cool.
We'll have to bring
That'd be
some
awesome.
apples.
Well, bring us some apples, yeah, for sure. So how do you decide what to feature in your store as far as like,
Meaning, like just product wise,
product wise? Yeah.
um, I the bread and butter is action figures. That's the bread
Mhm.
and butter. Although sales lately in the last few months might say that t-shirts now are becoming the number two, number one. It's battling for number one, and number two is going to be t-shirts and action figures. With me, surprisingly, to my heart here is that trading cards number three.
Yeah.
Um, and so we differentiate ourselves from the LA store because David has done a fantastic job of doing all the new releases of figures, a lot of different shirts from different vendors. Sticks with That's pretty much his bread and butter, I think, are those two things. He doesn't do trading cards really, doesn't do old DVDs and VHS tapes, doesn't buy out old collections. I do all those things. I want variety of things. So if it's something I think it might be cool to put out on the floor, I'm all for it. My wife suggests a lot of things for us too. Like I never would have given these little collector pins, lapel tip pins,
Hmm.
a chance, but she suggested it, and as usual, she's right, and it became a big seller.
Nice. And so do you have like stock at your house too that you sometimes bring in as well?
No,
No? Okay. So everything
no,
that's
I
in the
don't.
store?
I Everything I have is pretty much in the store. I keep
Hmm.
expensive items of my own stuff at the house.
Gotcha.
Um, uh, but yeah, everything is just done through a distributor. So
Okay.
while my back room blurred out in this fall,
Mhm.
um, is just basically a lot of my old storage unit now. So
Okay.
my storage unit's here, and I really kind of want it all gone. If it's not wrestling, I don't want it here. So I have a lot of non-sport stuff here, some statues, um, non-sport trading cards. Funko Pops, just oddball things that I just would love to get out of here at some point in time. I don't want it here, but I also don't want to give it away either.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we appreciate you having the trading cards because we're having a hell of a time finding them. And we got some
That's my
good ones and the
specialty.
ones we got. Yeah.
We got a really nice numbered Rey Mysterio.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
It's really super
Is that one of
exciting.
those reflector ones or whatever? I think it was the
Oh,
Topps Chrome. I
refractors,
think
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
refractor. Yeah.
I'm going to be going to the National Sports Convention again this year. It'll be 5 years in a row, 4 years in a row now of doing it, and I'll be a guest speaker again there on the main
Wow.
stage, talking about wrestling cards to the crowd. And
Nice.
my Paul and Nunn from the Wrestling Card Price got out in Toronto. He'll be my partner. We'll do that again. But I'll be making a big effort this year to look to try to buy as many boxes that I can go and break into packs because I really don't want to get into the wax
Hmm.
era of that stuff. It just becomes super pricey,
Yeah.
and um but packs can also be pricey. Like I that tops 2025 Chrome, I said I have a way to get hobby boxes, but you're looking at for me to break it out into packs, it's gonna be like $50 a pack.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They're like, and people are like, get them, I'll buy them.
That's crazy because you just don't
I
know
mean,
what packs. Yeah.
you're right. I mean, you just don't know, and I'm like, it's hard for me to go and want to invest in. Well, I love it.
Hmm.
It's cards.
Yeah.
Um, I got to be very cautious of what I'm buying. I don't want to overpay for a product that, well, I don't like. I don't want that. I want the newest stuffs like that. Well, the
Mhm.
newest stuff is super hard to come by, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking for it.
Well, if you get any Rhea Ripley's, save them for us. We'll
Yep.
buy them from you.
Yep.
Okay, okay.
So, what? How do you decide who's going to be like your feature wrestler in the store,
Such as like how we're going to have a talent come into meet and greets or
or just what you're
products.
gonna or what you're gonna sell? Because when
I don't really
oh, go ahead.
I don't really feature any specific wrestler really per se for anything. I don't have like this weekend all John Cena stuff is going to be on sale. I don't do that. I just sort of every day take pictures. There's so much merchandise. I just take pictures and just feature that item for that moment, whatever, just for the day or something. Um, I got one of those guys named Alex, Big Joe Toys. Shout out to him. He comes in and we've been starting to film a lot of vignettes now. If you kind of been following us on social media, I've been doing a lot of stuff like wearing a Ric Flair robe in here and stuff like that, and walking around the store and doing little vignettes with that and just having fun with it and doing whatever can attract people to the store.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because we got that Rhea Ripley
That
cut
cardboard
out.
cutout.
Unfortunately, we're gonna bring it in tonight, but our dog doesn't do well with it for some reason.
It freaks her
Oh, well,
out. Yeah.
I got new ones I came in for her. I got replacements for her now.
So we don't know if she just doesn't understand why it looks human, but it's not talking or moving or what. But she just will not stop barking at it, so we had to actually hide it.
You need to get like from Dodgeball and have a little button that says, "We're better than you," and we know, and you know
Exactly.
it.
And I was thinking of putting like her voice behind it or something because she's fine when we watch her on TV, but she just it was weird when we brought her home. She just immediately got defensive and like, okay, we can't now what we bought this for, we can't use it for like
Right.
photo ops at events and stuff. So we got to be careful with it.
Well, eh, eventually they'll get used to it. I hope.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it out again next weekend and see if she's any better. But yeah, so I don't know. So Mike, I'm curious about like, do you see trends in like wrestlers being like selling? Because we know when we were in there, you're talking about a lot of Jay Uso was selling like
Yeah.
crazy.
Still
Do you
does.
notice that with like the legend guys too, like Stone Cold and Rock and stuff? Do you see trends
Yeah,
with that?
it's interesting because guys like Stone Cold gets the credit for have sold more merchandise than any other wrestler in history, more than Hogan and anybody else and I don't know if that's still true or not, but I'm telling you right now, he doesn't sell very well for me. But what's weird too is also about demographics too. Where I'm at, as opposed to where the LA store is at, we have two totally different types of clientele. Where being in Huntington Park in the downtown LA area, that area, he's heavily dominated by the Latino market. So all of his lucha guys are going to sell. Penta's a huge seller. Mysterio's a huge seller. Ray Phoenix is a huge seller. That those kind of guys sell really well for him, and they sell. Penta sells incredibly well for us as well. But I do okay with legends like Hogan still sells pretty well. I
Huh?
mean, let's not forget we're Arizona. We're basically a red state. So, of
Yeah.
course they're going to, that's a Hogan guy. So
Yeah.
they're going to love Hogan. And he's also legendary. I mean, despite what you may think of him, he's still legendary. Um, I used to have life-size stand-ups of Andre the Giant. They all sold. They're gone.
My God.
Um,
How do you get that in your car? I'm just kidding. I'm
no, don't
kidding.
forget these. They fold out,
I know,
man. Like
I
they
know,
fold
I
out.
know.
Yeah,
I'm
but,
kidding.
but but unfolded, that thing is taller than the doorway.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, so I just got the Undertaker one just came in, and it's about an inch and a half short of the doorway. So I mean, it's a weird market here. So, and that's one of the things that I've had to learn since opening the store of what superstars translate into bestsellers.
Mhm.
And Jey Uso, nothing touches Jey Uso. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Penta combined don't sell what I sell in Jey Uso.
It's
That's
crazy.
action figures, T-shirts. If I had stickers, anything he sells.
Why do you think he
That's
lost
now.
his
That's
belt
now.
so quick?
Why do I think he lost his belt so quick? That's an interesting question. I don't know. I'm not really sure. He doesn't. It's a guy that I know fans love the fact that he got the belt, and I'm not. I'm not like one of those hardcore guys that just has a very strong opinion. Like, how dare you? Like, I don't care. At the end of the day, I don't care one way or the other. Um, from a storyline perspective, I don't even think that he really even needed to have the belt to begin
Yeah,
with.
I
For
The
agree.
sure.
guy's super over already. We've
Yeah,
had guys that were super over that never held the WWE World Title. We just Road Dogg and
yeah,
the New Age
yeah,
Outlaws, man, they were super
yeah,
over in their day.
yeah.
Neither one of those guys held the world title.
Dusty Rhodes.
Right?
So I
Dusty
mean,
Rhodes Razor Ramon never held the title. Mr.
yeah,
Perfect never held the title. I
yeah,
mean,
and they're
Rick Rude
iconic.
never held the
Yeah.
title.
Yeah, I mean, all the time we're going Maine, and I'll flick a toothpick and all. It's like, yeah, I mean, still, yeah,
Roddy Piper
exactly.
never held the world title.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Didn't need
He's
to.
didn't need to. Yeah, so I agree on that, and I mean, it not. I don't want to like take away from people that are champions, but wrestling's one of the very few we'll consider like a sport that being champion is always the best thing either. So, you know,
Sometimes it's not. I mean,
yeah.
sometimes it's almost like because then fans are very fickle. It's just
Hmm.
the same thing as in music. You have a favorite band that you've seen in clubs for years. All of a sudden they hit mainstream and now they sold out and you don't like them anymore. Style hasn't changed. Band members are all still the same. They're just got, they're everybody knows about them now.
Yeah.
I used to work out in California. I mean, I'm a little older. I used to work for a company called Warehouse Entertainment, and we had a music store. And I remember I worked for a guy. His name was David Batchelor. That was his name, and he was a huge fan of Chili Peppers, and they hadn't broken big yet. So here I am. I'm like, I don't. I'm a teenager, and I'm going to go see these guys at the Whiskey, and some other band called Something and Roses is opening up for them. And I go, and I fell in love with Guns N' Roses, and then all of a sudden, like a year and a half later, not even a year later, Chili Peppers become a big deal, and all of a sudden he's like, they sold out. I can't stand. Like, dude, you've been a fan of theirs since they were like a garage band. How could you not like them? Like, and that's how wrestling fans are too. It's like, they're pushing LA Knight, LA Knight, LA Knight, LA Knight. And I think they dropped the ball on him because when he was white hot, man, but he had Roman going for this long terms like that, record. It They sort of appeased fans months later by giving him a US title run. But I just think that he's a fan favorite, but I think they're going to be friends no matter what, anyways.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's one of the few, and God, I still can't believe how long he's been in wrestling for, and he's finally over for like last 2 years. But he's
Yeah,
been in as long as Cena almost, right? Like
I think so. I
getting
mean,
close. Yeah,
before, I mean, he was over in TNA for a long time. I mean, he's
yeah,
been around for a while.
yeah. It's just crazy how over he suddenly just got. So, and you just never know. I mean, it's just crazy how all that works.
He's so
Um,
over overnight. It only took 15 years.
Exactly. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no such thing as an overnight success. That
Yeah.
everyone's been working really hard, just you just didn't know about it. So, like you're talking about with bands, yeah, I mean Red Hot Chili Peppers were together for like 10 years running the doing this and doing that, and then suddenly they break and everyone's like, well, yeah, same thing. So, overnight
Sellouts. Like,
success. Yeah.
I never understood that, but
Yeah, I don't either.
you like what you like, man, and if if their style change and all of a sudden it becomes like a Saint Anger albums like that, like well that one I'm gonna let it go aside. I'm done with that.
He
But
said it, not me. She loves that album. I hate
I
that.
like
I
it.
hate that album. Hate it.
Here's what about that album. I love that album if we just redid the drum tracks.
Yes, same.
And see,
Yeah.
Justin's a drummer, and yeah, he hates
Yeah.
the drums
Yeah,
on it.
for me, if you just read, I mean, the only thing that I'm more into than probably wrestling is going to be music. So,
Mhm.
um, I have a lot of interesting stories there.
Nice. Do you have a favorite era?
Wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I used to have a go-to where I would say the Attitude Era just because it was so fun during that time frame. But the network has allowed me to go back and all of us to go back and watch that era, and I go, we like this shit, really? Like this 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 was like what we waited for every week, like because some of that stuff is cringy. I mean, some of it's exciting as hell. Don't get me wrong. There's some
Yeah.
really great moments, but for the most part, I'm like, holy crap! And I even went back and started watching all the old Nitros too, and I go,
Yeah.
this wasn't much better other than the early days of NWO and like what's real and what's not real kind of thing. But then I think I was a member of NWO for 5 minutes. Don't even know about it because everybody's been a member. Um, so it's just yeah, that era used to be, but I'm sort of having more of an appreciation for mid to late 80s era right now for me. When I opened the store and after I got the TV installed and started watching the network here, um, first thing I started watching Survivor Series from '87. And I go, man, this is entertaining as hell, man. This is how do I not? Because I never been one of those guys that goes back and watches old matches. Like I
Yeah.
know what's going to happen. Why would I want to watch what's going to happen, kind of thing, But I started going back and having more of appreciation for the actual in-ring storytelling and what they were doing, and oh wow, that such and such was doing that long before such and such was doing it, kind of thing. And so I'm going to probably say, that mid to late 80s for me, maybe even early 90s before it got really cartoony.
So like the early WrestleMania type era.
Yeah,
One,
yeah,
one through
early
10.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. 1 through 10-ish.
Not even the WrestleMania so much. Like
Well, I mean,
those
just
were
that era of like when WrestleMania
yeah,
started to like 1 through 10, like the 80, what was it, 84 to 92-ish, right around there, something
yeah,
like that, 93. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that's no, that's
I think I enjoyed that era probably. I've come to really appreciate, and I've started to really appreciate, you know, um, that same era in the mid to late, 80s, early 90s of other promotions because of the
yeah.
network. I start really appreciating World Class Championship
Okay.
Wrestling. I started appreciating Stampede more. I started appreciating AWA more. Watching some of those going, wow, man, there's some really cool, matches that went under in that time. Like that I'm not the wrestling historian.
Mhm.
Um, so I go back and I'm watching these things, and to me, some of these are first time for me ever watching them. And I'm like,
Mhm.
holy shit, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite match like of all time that if you were to watch it multiple times?
Um, no, I
No?
don't.
Okay.
I go through spells. I really do.
Hmm.
I go through moments like I went through that whole Hell in a Cell series for a while, starting with the Shawn Michaels Undertaker, then of course the Mankind
Man.
one as
Yeah.
well. But like right now I'm on a King of the Ring kick right now. So I'm watching all the King of the Rings and I'm really enjoying that 2001 with uh, uh Angle versus Shane McMahon,
Okay.
Really, really some of these matches, watching some of them, I feel like I'm watching. I've seen them before, but now I'm watching them with like fresh eyes, and I feel like I'm watching for the first time. Like, how did I how did I not notice that bit on the outside there? How did I not notice that little? So I now I have more appreciation of watching matches over and over again because you start finding little pieces like that.
Mhm. Yeah, because like one of the first ones I remember her seeing was the first WrestleMania we watched was I think it was WrestleMania. It was when Shawn Michaels was the
Referee.
referee for Triple H and Undertaker.
Okay.
It was the cage match and all that. That was like her first match she ever watched. And I was like, you watched a pretty damn good match. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's you started real high.
yeah. Because like I'm always trying to think of like matches for her to watch. Like another one that came to mind was Bret Hart versus Steve Austin when one
That's
when they turned
WrestleMania
heel
13.
and babyface without saying a word. That
Yep.
was just I mean talk about
Fantastic.
storytelling. Oh, some of the best
That's
storytelling
probably
ever. Yeah.
if I got, now that you mentioned that, if I got to pick something like that, that's a match I can watch over and over and over again.
It's just they don't say a word and you know everything that's happening. It's just
Which
one of
is probably
the
the reason
perfect.
why I got it. It's the first match to be inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's how she actually saw it was that they were doing all the Hall of Fame stuff on it, and I was like, well deserved. I'm like, because if there's ever a time when someone's getting into wrestling, and it's like you got to watch this match and you'll be into wrestling. Like that's the one that
100%.
yeah,
That's an excellent, excellent match to really showcase the power of storytelling in a ring to someone who's never watched wrestling before, probably.
yeah, and the
It has
understanding that
elements of everything in it.
yeah,
Everything's in it.
yep, yeah, he doesn't tap, but he passes out instead. It's just perfect. It's just a perfect
Oh,
match.
you've got technical ability, you've got
Yep.
brute, you've got blood, you've got it's just everything going on in that. It's an amazing match.
Do you have a favorite storyline?
Modern wise, I like the bloodline stuff like that. I
Yes.
like that a lot. Especially those first, and I came in late to that because I wasn't watching any wrestling at that time. I was keeping up to date on things on social media, so I knew what was going on, but I wasn't watching at all. I had no network. I wasn't watching that stuff. I was just so I heard about this bloodline thing going on. So I caught in, just before the explosion of the bloodline, the Usos leaving and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is Emmy award winning type shit going
Yes.
on right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, feel a little oozy, like all that stuff. It's just
Yeah.
it
Oh,
was
that was
fantastic.
watching them try and keep their laughter away when he said he's just not been very oozy. And you
Yeah.
see Roman like, oh shit. And
Well, and then
then
Jimmy, and
Jay,
Jimmy's the one always bust open, man. He can't keep a composure to save his life.
that was
Um,
just a great moment. Yeah, because we watched it from the like inception when they started really doing this and Sami Zayn joined in and
Sami
I
Zayn
really
looked like
liked it. I've really
Castro.
liked it a lot.
yeah.
But old school for me, I liked while I'm not a Hogan fan at all, I did like the Hogan versus Andre build up, the whole thing. It felt when you're that age, 80, so it's gonna put me, in my late teens. Um, you get you're buying into all this like, Andre versus the two biggest guys that are on TV that are, all the time. And you're like, this is monumental. Like this became like a really big fight type of feels like that. So you're watching every Saturday morning, afternoons like that. You're checking out, everything you can. I'm checking Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I'm checking, any magazine that gives me any tip because we had no internet, anything that give me information like this is huge. Like, God, who's gonna win that? It was an intriguing thing, man.
No, that was very interesting, especially that the fact of what Hogan almost was never a wrestler because what was it Vince McMahon Sr. did not want him in wrestling, and especially
No,
after he did the Thunder Lips thing in Rocky, and it's just crazy to think that he almost was not a wrestler. He almost was not in this, and yet
well,
he's the reason.
he wasn't going to be a WWF guy. He was
True, true.
still very much in the AWA.
Yeah.
But and I think they're fixing to put the belt on him there too as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's you can give all the shit you want to a Vince McMahon Jr. Um, but you know, having that vision to roll the dice, and you can watch that documentary on how the first
Oh, we
WrestleMania came
did.
about.
Yeah.
Is just he threw everything at it, man. This works. We're moving on to national, international. If it doesn't, I'm done, kind of thing. Throwing it. There's something to be said for that kind of gamble, and that's kind of how I felt with the store a little bit, but at much micro level. But I'm taking my savings, and I'm lucky for finding a card that financed the store. But rolling the dice, and we're here 2.5 years later, still rolling, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Especially when you started at still a rough time to kind of
Yeah.
start a new business because everyone wasn't sure about, the way the world was still and, doing
Yeah, I
that.
mean, you're coming out of COVID. We're a good removal from COVID now. We grand open in 2023. Um, but still, it's I've never owned a brick and mortar before. I've been self-employed since 2001, but I've never done this kind of business before. I've always done, contract negotiating type things behind the scenes of, working this convention, that convention, this convention kind of thing. Um, and that's different because you're pretty much, like I said, self-employed in that way. But, doing this, it's a lot of paperwork, man. There's a lot of like, it's stressful. I've had a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, I get that. Safety net pretty much. You don't have one. You're it. So
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, it's make or break, and
yeah.
that's kind of what drives me every day. It's just knowing like I cannot let this fail. And I was really stressing and having a lot of sleepless nights the first 2 years of the store. So, little less than 2 years because around Christmas time last year is when my wife and I had many discussions, and I came to the decision that, I have to officially retire and give up the booking business because I'm burning from both ends here and trying to still want to go out and do a few dates a year and then be full time working the store and being, the main guy here, 6 days a week. It's just I had to give that up. And so now my focus is really this coming year, you're going to see a lot of change.
So what wrestlers have you had at your store so far since you've been open?
Sort of what?
So what wrestlers have you had in your store since you've opened? So
We
you do
grand
that.
opened with the Honky Tonk Man. We had Atom Bomb. We've had Victoria and Melina. I've had Sabu here, Sandman, Kurt Angle. We had Thunder Rosa. We just had Danhausen. We've had Rikishi. Joe Hendry was here in February. Um, Tito
Status.
Santana, Matt Cardona, Kelly Kelly. Uh, the first couple of years, most of the people who came in are all friends of mine. So they're people I've worked with for many times over the years. Um, so they all did me a solid. They don't charge me some astronomical amount that I would normally charge, promotions like that. They come in here, they make what they make, they go home. I get to put the name on the marquee, and hopefully that drives attention to fans. And then my job is to turn those fans into customers. So, now we're venturing off into a lot of people I've never worked with before. Cardona, never worked with him before in my life. Thunder Rosa had never worked with him before. Um, Jerry Lawler, met him many times, never worked with him before. Joe Hendry just kind of fell in my lap, never worked with the guy before. So, having sort of worked in some aspect of that business, you know, the past 20 years or so, has given me a little bit of leverage in that case, in that sense. And so I'm trying to, use that leverage to continue to keep us moving forward.
Are there any wrestlers that you haven't had in the store that you hope to book at some time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always have a hit list. Love to, like, I'd love to have the Hardy Boys in here.
Oh,
You
that'd
know,
be cool.
that'd be a line down the street.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I give up on trying to explain to customers who come in and says to like, you should bring in The Rock, you should bring in Jey Uso, you should bring in like, trying to give all the details and explanations on why that's not ever going to happen. Um, it's done. So now I just tell you, you know what? Never say never. Check our website.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, um, but like right now, you can't bring in current talent into a store. Anybody who's under contract with WWE is exclusive with Fanatics. So Fanatics has that exclusive, right? As a matter of fact, as we're speaking right now, Fanatics Fest just started in New York for this weekend.
That's true. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's reserved for things like that. The
Mhm.
only exceptions to those rules are some of the sponsorships and business dealings that WWE would have with places like Cricket Wireless, um, whatever other companies they're in partnership with, like that, Prime or whatever it may be. They'll show up at those types of places because that's a contractual thing with WWE and that partnership. But conventions that are not run by Fanatics, stores like myself, we're not able to get those kind of names in here.
Do you have any guests scheduled or that you're working on
I
right that you can
do,
talk
but I'm
about?
not. I
You can't
do,
talk.
but I'm not really ready to release it.
Okay.
Um, we had someone for June, and that didn't work out. That
Mhm.
became a communication issue that we sort of kind of patched up and worked out, but it won't be happening this month. I'm taking July off as it is, anyways, because one weekend in July, I go back to California to visit family. And then the last weekend in July is the National Sports Convention, so I'll be gone for that weekend too. So those don't work out too well. So unless something kind of falls in between those 2 weeks that are available, no. Um, August, I do have something coming. September sounds like I might have something coming. That's a hint. Um, and then October, I definitely have someone coming in, and November, I definitely have someone. December, I'm going to try to bring someone in, might be a repeat person, because I want them to be part of our Toys for Tot drive we did last year too. Um, so I haven't figured that out yet. And then I have a 3-year anniversary guest scheduled already too.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But
Do
like I
you,
said too, um, there's there's a lot going on. We have a lot of things that are going on, all good things, all very good things, um, that are going to be time sensitive type things. And so there's a lot that's happening that I can't wait for the wrestling scene here to take part in.
awesome. Do you think Vince McMahon will buy back WWE?
No.
No.
You think he'll start something on his own though?
It wouldn't surprise me, but as far as buying back WWE, no.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
a
it's just too
shareholder
expensive.
still. I'm
Yeah,
still a
okay.
shareholder, and from what I see from some of the groups that we can go and talk on, it's like that. Uh, I don't know of anybody who says I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, I think Triple H is doing a really good job right now on, except for he kind of, I don't know if you know the Goldberg story, but he kind of dropped the ball on that one, I think, in my opinion, because you could
Yeah, I
really
mean,
carry that storyline out a little better. But
yeah, I mean, there's going to be nobody in the history of professional wrestling is going to be batting 1,000 on the booking process.
yeah,
And
yeah,
wrestling always has, like I said in the beginning, it's up and down, up and down. And we're sort of at this plateau right now of a red hot wrestling right now where it's has it hit a peak? I believe it has hit a peak right now. Is it going to fall down again? God, I hope not. But wrestling fans are still wrestling fans. They follow it through and through. They fall out. People come in. People go out for whatever reasons. But we're still riding really, really high right now. And you have to remember, it's still a publicly traded company. It's owned by Endeavor. It's a merger now with the UFC under the TKO banner. It's a lot of shareholders to answer to. Um, whatever's going to be like the old thing was during that corporate era, whatever it was, what's best for business,
yeah, yeah.
and
The authority, yeah,
the authority, yeah, yeah. So it's whatever's best for business. And so, you know, while I agree with you, he dropped the ball on that Goldberg thing, just to give him his last little hurrah. Um, I still think that he's batting pretty high.
yeah. Oh, for sure. He's still, yeah, he's still doing really, really well. I just, God, when it's still a month away when they're going to do this, drag it out a couple weeks before they. Because it
Good.
started from him calling out his family in the crowd and stuff like that. But it's like do like a behind the scenes kind of camera caught him, kind of in the back there, just going off on each other. I think just doing it in the ring was the bad place to do it. I think they should have done it behind the
Yeah,
scenes
I
kind
mean,
of thing.
there's a lot of interesting ideas. I heard someone's not my idea, but someone I was talking to about it, thinking, if we're going to go into this, we had this conversation about, using social media and things like that to kind of feed into us. Like we live in that world now. That's how it is. We all have the attention span of like a gnat now. Um, and it's just, maybe we have something where we're using social media to sort of do that. We could have had, you know, fake, um, imagine this scenario. So imagine you had like you said something backstage. I'll take it even one step away from that, away not even in an arena at all. Let's just say we're in some uh, Hilton hotel in Atlanta where he's at. It's like that, and we made it look like it's a fan captured camera of like
Yeah,
some kind of altercation they met in the lobby, a la Spinal Tap type shit. And they come in there, it's like that. It's like, oh hey, Goldberg, where are you going? Like, hey, what's going on? And you had that kind of thing going on. It's like that. Where are you playing? Well, I'm going to wrestle the Normal Dome tonight. It's like that. Whatever. It's just like it becomes like this, not a found footage, but like oh, it starts going circling on the internet that fans caught this altercation going on, and that's how we got involved.
yeah.
Like, well, I'm going to train. I'm coming back and beating your ass, man.
For sure. They should have done something more than just you're next or whatever. I was like, it's just
And it's like, and we all knew it was coming too. It wasn't like some
yeah,
surprise.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. So another one I have on here that's talked about a lot. Do you have a wrestling Mount Rushmore?
Well, I got my two guys, but they're my favorites. But if I have to look at it from a Rushmore standpoint, again, not a Hogan fan, but he has to be on there. Um, you know, I think I can get there. It's always three.
Mhm.
That fourth one becomes like, who do I cut out? You know, do I put Brett in there? Do I take him out? Do I put Sean there? Do I take him out to put The Rock in there? Do I take him out? Like, you can always pretty much go, Andre, Hogan, Flair. Who's number four? I just from a sheer, I got to put Austin in there. I got Austin's got to be my fourth guy up on that Rushmore. It's like that, just because what's amazing is he only had, that it was not even an 8-year run,
Mhm.
there in WWE.
Yeah.
And but when he was white hot, man, holy shit, was he white hot? I mean, people today still wear what shirts?
Oh yeah.
Austin 316 shirts. But that'd be my Rushmore. I mean, you can even go like some guys are like, oh man, you got to put Bruno up there because Bruno, he saw at Madison Square Garden more than anybody else in history, kind of thing. And it's
I
like,
put
well,
Paul
yeah,
Heyman on there.
you
Oh,
could
for
put Paul
sure.
Heyman up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's changed the game. Like he was doing the ECW and making that cool and popular. And there's now
Sure.
they're, the tables, ladders, and chairs matches are because of him. Like, and what he's doing now, because he's directed and wrote a lot of things that he doesn't take credit for, even to this day. I mean, he's
What was that? What was that promo bit that I caught? I just saw the clip on social media.
was
Who
it
was he
the
just
Cody
complain?
Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns one was directed by him. The one in the on the football
No,
field.
no. Yeah, I know that one. I'm talking about
Yeah.
recently where
Oh.
he got in the ring, and had to explain why he sided with Seth.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and it looked like he was gonna have a heart attack in the ring. He was
Mhm.
so emotional about it and so invested in it. Like he's sweating and he's just like getting red in the face. Like, holy shit, this guy's gonna die in the ring right now. Cause like he's
Oh,
like
yeah,
super
yeah,
pissed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the guy is all in. But yeah, I mean, there could be an argument about putting him, as a non-wrestler, putting him on the Mount Rushmore would be impressive. But you put him in a manager, like if you had a Mount Rushmore for managers, he's number one
But
for
he's
me.
gone through
Him and
tables.
him and
Yeah.
He's gone
him.
through
I
tables
mean,
recently.
they
That's
all
wrestling
have.
to
I
me.
mean,
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan used to wrestle.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, yeah, I look at Mount Rushmore's who's changed the game the most. And he honestly, I mean, even the way he got in is lying about his age and being a photographer at Madison Square Garden till now. It's like you look at that story, it's like how would he not be on there? He's 40
Yeah,
plus years in and he's,
you're not gonna get any argument from me.
yeah. So yeah, that's just kind of my wild card on that. But I agree on Stone Cold, Hogan. Yeah, I mean I'm not the biggest fan either. I don't think he was a great wrestler to begin with, but I mean we're kind of not where we're at now if it wasn't for him too.
Sure, but I agree.
Especially when he
I
went
think the
heel.
measure. I think you're right. The measuring stick should be like, how do they change the industry?
Hmm.
And he did. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, if you're gonna go that way, a non-wrestler, and he wrestled a lot too. Why isn't Vince McMahon on the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah,
Because he's
just
somebody in the trading card world. He's someone for the last 5 years now on our podcast for WrestlingTradingCards.com. Uh, I've been saying people are sleeping on Vince McMahon autograph cards. One, he hasn't signed very many of them. And two, it's Vince McMahon, dude. Like, you guys, I collect Hogan because he changed the game. I collect Ric Flair because he's the best wrestler of all time. I collect Andre the Giant because he's the eighth one of the world. And yeah, there's Vince too. And Vince, he has a very low print run of high end cards for him. And you watch the day when that guy passes away, people are going to be scrambling for those things, and they're already those things are already five-figure autograph cards for him
well
for low
that yeah.
number ones.
And that's a good point too, because like during the Attitude Era, I mean, he was self-deprecating that whole time, which was great with him and Stone Cold and all that, when like the bedpan to the head and just all that was just hilarious. And he was essentially writing those storylines to do that to
Sure,
him. And so yeah, that's a good point too. That he should be on there as well, just for that small period of time when he was
Even that,
doing
but
all
and
that.
let's also be honest, also because of the fact that he's the one who's been running WWFE all this time, and he's the one that brought us WrestleMania. And I mean, I as a person, as a human being, is a piece of shit, just like Hogan for me,
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah,
But there's no denying what these guys have done in the ring and what they've done for the business itself. Like that, like we wouldn't, you and I would not be talking right now if it wasn't for stuff like this. I think it's my opinion.
sure,
For sure.
yeah, for sure.
Do you think Brock Lesnar will ever come back?
I think so. He's on the roster still.
I hope he comes back.
Yeah, I
It's gonna
mean,
be yeah.
yeah, his name was in that report.
Mhm.
But here's the issue for people who want to just go ahead and slam the name. Did you actually read the 60 plus page actual, report? Most people didn't. I got about 40 pages into it before I gave up, but um yeah, he was never named in it until recently when they actually released some of the names like that and it became his name. So yes, it was him. I thought, wouldn't it be a great swerve where they mentioned a former UFC champion, did all these things and ended up being Ronda Rousey. Um, um, but having Brock is at the end of the day too, he didn't reciprocate anything in that. He didn't partake in the things that were being offered to him in that. These were again, it's also all alleged because it's a he said, she said thing until we actually see things in court kind of thing. But you know, it's disgusting. But I'm still a big believer that you're innocent until proven guilty type of thing. So um but I believe a lot of stuff in that, especially when it comes to Vince, because we all know and seen Vince's personality and many different things, and he's just kind of a pretty guy behind the scenes, I guess. But yeah, but Brock, he's still on the roster. He was off the roster, now he's back on the roster. So I don't know, maybe Royal Rumble next year.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't join the faction with Seth Rollins and all those guys too. Just came out and just he's a Paul Heyman guy. I could see that, like him being the big enforcer guy. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but
Don't we have four already?
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it's not unusual to
Let's not go
yeah.
NWO with this thing, okay?
I don't think it'd go that bad. That was everybody. I think fans in the stands were part of NWO at certain points.
Like
So
I said earlier, I think I was in the group for about 5 minutes, probably.
probably. So from what you've experienced with like knowing the wrestlers personally and stuff like that, did some of them exaggerate their height and weight, or is it pretty accurate?
Some, I think some are. I think they're all exaggerated, to be honest with you. I mean,
Mhm.
um, you get like a Kevin Nash. The dude's he's legit 6'10" and a half. You get Rey Mysterio, I think is probably overbuilt. I think he's shorter than what they actually say, having met him many times. Um, but yeah, I mean, I remember all the years that I worked with Mick Foley too. We did a lot of conventions, and the number one thing that people would always say when they meet him for the first time, when he goes to stand, I go, "Oh my God, you're you're way taller than I thought you were." He goes, "Oh, I'm a lot taller than I am wider, trust me." But he's a tall man, like
Yeah.
a lot of guys. So like, and the other guys they bill him at 6 foot, and I'm like, dude, I'm 5'10", and you and I are the same height. Like we're eye to eye. Like,
Yeah, when I met Jericho, I'm like, oh, that's it. Okay. And I mean, he never said he was tall or anything like that, but
right.
I was just like, wow, we're about the same height. Like he was like
Yep.
5'9", 5'10". I'm like, hmm.
Yep.
Oh my God, talk about one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Chris Jericho was just
Yeah.
salty there. When I met him, at least him and they
Yep.
were playing, Fozzy was playing a show and he was at Zia and he was just doing a signing. We went and met him and he was just super nice. He ended up like filming me, talking to him about a story and stuff like that. And it's just like,
I've done many conventions with him over the years.
yeah, he was just super nice. He was super nice to everybody. He took the time to talk to him, and because I know a lot of guys are like, okay, I'll sign it, and 30 seconds in and out. But he was just like, no, I sat there 5 minutes talking to the guy.
Especially he's a little bit different, I think, too, especially if you're meeting him in a Fozzy setting as
Hmm.
opposed to some kind of a wrestling type setting. I
Yeah,
think the wrestling setting is one different mentality and attitude versus being in the Fozzy mentality and attitude, I think, too. But you're getting a lot of crossover appeal. There's no denying that, him being the lead singer of a rock band is going to bring over a lot of those wrestling fans over to that music. So
yeah,
you get crossover. But for people who come in there and appreciate his musical, adventures and stuff like that and talent. I think it's a different mentality there.
I still think he's one of the more underrated wrestlers too. I still don't think he quite gets the credit he deserves as far as like some of the
I
other,
agree.
yeah,
I
because
agree. And
he
then
was
and
great
then
at
you're gonna have
both. He's a great talker and a great wrestler, and that's
oh
very,
yeah.
very rare.
And there's some people I just saw something on X or Instagram, some kind of podcast where somebody was offering their Mount Rushmore and he was on their Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean, I would think about that too, because what he did, and I mean, being a wrestler, and when still Vince McMahon wasn't convinced that short, small guys can attract, he did it. He was
Yeah,
like really the one of the first ones to do it for Vince. Vince didn't like those guys. He didn't like Shawn Michaels and stuff at first because he just didn't fit the bill.
yeah.
But you can't
Yep.
deny Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho for what they did.
Yeah,
So
and Sean's another guy right there. I mean, do you put him on? I mean, he could be a Mount Rushmore guy. Like
he was
Mount,
born here.
I think
So
I think a wrestling Mount Rushmore has to be a bigger mountain. It can't just be four. It has to be.
for sure, I agree. Yeah, no, because there's just so many great ones.
Let's
Definitely.
just start chiseling away. The rest of that mountain. Fill it up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's
Okay, so our last question, since Justin is a drummer and our podcast is called Drumming Up Conversation, who is your favorite drummer?
I knew this question was coming. The issue with me is I'm so fickle about a lot of things in that regard. I go through different spurts depending on what kind of music I'm listening to at the time. I remember when my daughter was younger, geez, I went through a Travis Barker, phase because I just thought it was incredible listening to Blink 182 and listening to the style that he played. I mean, um, I can always go right back. I can never not listen to Bonham anything ever. Like that's just I love that sound. That's to me how a drum should sound is the way Bonham plays. Um, you know, I mean, I even like Nico McBrain's like that from Iron Maiden for crying out loud. I don't think
oh
he
yeah,
gets a lot of credit, and now that he's
no,
retired now, it's like that too. But coming and having to fill in for Clive Burr, who was freaking amazing already as well. Um, I mean, I enjoy his style too, but I mean, I love Fillers is one of my favorite Iron Maiden albums. Probably is my favorite Iron Maiden album. I love Paul Di'Anno and it's like that, and listen to
he
Clive play
rest
on
in
those.
peace.
Yeah, listen to those albums is just
Yeah,
great. But I guess I keep coming back to Bonham, and Bonham's always going to be my guy because to me that's how a a heavy rock and roll sound should be. And it's just especially I think I'm in that mode right now since it's so funny we're talking and you guys invited me to come on here. Uh because I just did a flight. I just got back from Niagara Falls Comic Con working with Kurt 2 weekends ago. And on my flight there, I had watched that movie Becoming Led Zeppelin.
oh
And
yeah, we're halfway
I
through it
had
right
never
now.
I had never seen it. And I like, holy shit. And getting to hear the never before released interview with Bonham, who didn't do
Mhm.
like to do a lot of interviews, and hearing him talk about his bandmates, how he became part of the band, and then watching and listening to him and watching him play. And so yeah, like I'm back in love with that whole thing right now for me as
Yeah.
far as drumming goes.
Have you heard it on really good speakers?
Yes, of course I
Oh my
have.
God, that who I don't know who mixed that, but they should win an award. That sounds so good.
Sounds amazing.
Oh my God, we had it playing when we are just doing stuff around the house, and I'm like, this sounds. I feel like I'm at a fucking concert right now.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it
it's
is
it
just in
sounded
your face and just
not only that, but they
crisp and
cleaned up some of
yeah,
the live they cleaned up some of the live stuff there that's should be more grainy and
hmm
and and maybe blurry and it's clear.
yeah,
It's like did you guys just film this like last weekend? Because this
yeah.
is super clear. This is like in you know
It was
4K
4K.
8K
Yeah, yeah, it
resolution.
is. Yeah, it was definitely 4K from on our screen, and just the audio too. I'm like, this just looks. Yeah, it looks like they're playing like on PBS right now at a concert. Like just like
And there's just
modern.
certain albums that while sound great no matter what, sounds so much better when you have a nice sound system that's going to be able to play it. I remember going to my friend Jonathan's house years ago, and he had gotten, I don't even know what kind of system it was. I'm not really up on my systems anymore, but he played Back in Black. And I'm like, I already liked that first, like, and then boom, and then it started hitting the drum kicks in, and I'm like, ooh, this is like on another level, like hearing it in a really nice systems like that. And good quality equipment goes a long way, man.
It
Like
does. It does. Yeah.
that's why I will never ever if I forget my headphones, and I almost never do, but if I forget my headphones on a flight and they like take some headphones, would you like some headphones? I don't want to hear your shit. That is shit headphones. I'd rather just sit here and read a book.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. Yeah, I definitely appreciate the quality of, what sounds good, whether you like Bose or whatever, as long as they're good. Yeah, the quality does make a difference, especially if like I'm listening to something for the first time. I want to hear it and see it the way I want to hear it and see it. I don't want to listen on some shitty earbuds that, are in like mono instead of stereo and stuff like that. I want no part of that. So.
Yeah, and then I can even go on for other drummers like that too. Like, I mean, come on, Slayer. I mean, let's go. I mean, if you're talking about speed and technical stuff there, but and then I don't even remember his name. What's the guy from Slipknot?
Jordison.
Yeah, I mean, another great drummer, I think. There's a lot of guys in that genre of stuff too. I don't remember. I don't know the guy's drummer's name from Bullet for My Valentine's like that. Um, but I like that band too. Uh, for me, it's not about speed though either too. So it's just they're all good for the genre in which they play. But I'll just go right back again. It's just, Bonham
Yeah.
to me sounds is like the quintessential sound of what a rock and roll drummer should be.
Yeah. There's no wrong answer, but that's a very good answer. So,
Yours as a
what
drummer, as a drummer yourself, then you must have like influences that you grew up with, and then like I want to play drums because I like this guy.
Neil Peart, Rush, changed the game for me. So I was like, you can do that. You can play that like it just blew my mind that like he's one that had a big drum kit, but he used all of it. It wasn't just for
Oh
show.
yeah, it was none of
It
it was
wasn't
filler
like
stuff.
Peter
It was all
Criss, yeah. And just he played to the song, but he had such great musicians around him. He had to play the way he played, kind of like Keith Moon did.
works.
Keith Moon played the way he played because he had Pete Townsend and John Entwistle,
Sure.
like two juggernauts on their instruments, and he had to play
And
that
on top of
style.
that, he wrote the lyrics for a lot of their stuff too.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, and great lyrics, like deep lyrics,
yeah,
especially later on. Like their last album might have been his best writing of all time, and like most bands don't do that late in their career. They're just like, yeah, we'll
I
mail it in,
remember when
whatever.
they I remember when they came out with the album Counterparts,
Mm,
and
yes.
the album's so for me. But the only great song on that one is the instrumental they did on that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Leave that
Yep.
thing
And
alone.
I love that album. I mean, I love that song especially.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
But for me, even simplicity is best too.
Sure.
I'm a big Cheap Trick fan. So my
Oh,
whole arm is
oh
Cheap
yeah.
Trick stuff.
Bunny
And
Carlos. Yeah.
Bunny Carlos,
Yeah.
for a guy that can play, I mean, he's not quite, he's not quite Slim Jim Phantom playing a three-piece set. That's it. But it's he's got a very simple kit,
hmm
but he utilizes everything in it. And I fell in love with him and Cheap Trick as a whole because I was a Kiss fan as a kid. So in the
Okay.
mid 70s, I was a Kiss fan. And then I read either like a Circus magazine or a Cream or Kerrang or something like that. I probably read back then where they had interviewed Kiss, like, yeah, we told our good friends, Cheap Trick, they need to go over to Budokan and play. And I go, well, I'm gonna go check that out. And I checked out and I never listened to Kiss again. I was always a Cheap Trick fan since then.
Yeah.
And then, hearing Ain't That a Shame, me, or just not knowing because there was no internet to educate me, things like that, and not knowing that Ain't That a Shame wasn't an original, but it was a, cover of a Fats Domino song. Um, I was like, that whole part of him just playing in the beginning,
Yeah.
it's just incredible to me.
Well, and I mean, his drum parts on "I Want You to Want Me," it's not easy. It's a very difficult just tempo and the way he's playing it. It's a tough one to learn. So yeah. I mean, he was great. I mean,
And if you ever
all
get a
those
chance,
70s, 80s guys.
go
Yeah.
back and listen to him play on a song called Need Your Love.
Okay.
It's got a lot of great, and Tom Peterson's a fucking badass bass player. I mean, the inventor of the 12-string bass. Um, but listening to them play on that song like that, and the I don't know, just the sort of almost a competitive Rick playing guitar over here, and then Tom gets his little thing over there, and they're going back and forth, and then Ronnie gets to play his little parts in here, and it's like it's just going back and forth, and didn't even go years down the road, 2010. they came out with an album called The Latest, and it's an incredible album. It's the last album that Bunny played on before he, had to leave, and Dax took over. But there's a song on there called "Sick Man of Europe," which was the original name of the Cheap Trick. We're going to call themselves Sick Man of
Okay.
Europe, and they made a song out of it. And just listen to Tom Peterson play on that thing. Holy shit!
Okay. Yeah, I'm a huge Cheap Trick fan.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the more underrated bands for sure. I think
Oh,
that they
absolutely.
have so much great stuff. I mean, they're still influencing, and they still sound
They'll tour
great.
like crazy.
They still sound great. All of
Yeah,
them.
they
They
put
haven't
out
missed a
four
beat.
albums in 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're up there with like how like Sammy Hagar and stuff. Like, still sound like the voice just still sounds like it's supposed to sound. And they're what is he,
I guess maybe
75? Something like
yeah.
that.
Who? Sammy?
No,
Yeah, he's
all of
like
them. Sammy's 75 or 70, but
I
I think
think
they're right up there too. So
yeah, I think Bunny just turned 75. I think his
yeah.
birthday was the other day.
Hmm.
And then I think Rick is up there too in his mid
Yeah.
70s. Um Robin is 70 or I think he just turned 70,
Yeah.
and Tom is 70 now, I think too, I think.
Yeah. That's that's crazy. They're still just
That's
going strong.
incredible, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because those aren't easy vocals to still hit those notes, and he's hitting them. Him and Glenn
So
Hughes, man, just yeah.
maybe alcohol is the answer. I don't know.
I don't know. So where can our listeners find you and everything that you're up to?
Well, for the store, it's basically just an acronym of our name. So WGS, Wrestling Guy Store, PHX, Phoenix, Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix. Or you can go to the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix.com. Everything is on our page right there. Our address, phone numbers, all of our social media tags are on there. We're on X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You know, social media is a whole second job I have.
Oh yeah.
Same
Yep.
here. I
Yeah.
third or fourth actually, because I have a band, the podcast too. So it's probably a fourth
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't be talking to me right now. You should be out there doing that.
And you have
But
a
yeah,
podcast
for
too?
there, huh?
You have a podcast too? Did you want
I
to
do
promote that?
not for the store, not for the
Hmm.
store yet. I have a YouTube channel for the trading card aspect called WrestlingTradingCards.com. That's a whole different conversation for
Sure.
a different day.
Yeah.
But I treat that WrestlingTradingCards.com on YouTube as a network.
Okay.
And since you're allowed to have playlists, my
Hmm.
playlists now have become channels. So now you go to the network, you choose what channel you want to watch, kind of thing. So I'll have one about cards. I'm going to have one about the store. I have one about, collectors. I have a whole bunch of different channels on there for different educational things. So we only have like maybe one thing on there right now for the store, but the goal here is to start maybe utilizing YouTube Shorts on there, and for the store, and then think about maybe even doing a podcast here from the store to, I'll interview guys like you coming in here. It's like being wrestling fans. I'll return the favor and have you in the store.
That'd be
Sure.
awesome.
Have customers that are big time fans, or we have a lot of local independent wrestlers that come in here. It's like that. Get
Mhm.
them on the podcast and talk about stuff. And whatever it takes for me to market the store, I'm a whore. I'll do it.
Yeah, no, and then you should, because you've got a great store.
You do.
And we
Appreciate
had
it.
a blast that day we went down there, and we will be back very soon because we need to get more stuff,
Yep.
and we need to get another cardboard cutout and do that. Right now,
Got a bunch just came in.
Ria's just guarding my drums right now, so that's what she's doing. She's in my drum studio, so she looks
Yeah.
really
Well, you need
badass
someone to
behind my
guard.
drums.
You need someone to guard your drum set. There's nobody better, I think, than having Rhea Ripley
Yeah,
Yep.
watch it
I
for you.
might
For
have to
sure.
get the Undertaker next to her. That'd be pretty fucking cool too. So,
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there on the floor, man, standing 6'10" plus.
all right, awesome. Well, thank you for doing this, and
So
we would love to have you
Hey,
on again sometime down the road too. And we're looking forward to those guests coming out. We'll be out there for those as well.
Yep.
So,
Awesome.
yeah,
yeah,
check
thank
our
you
website for that. We'll make our note.
for sure.
And then when you're on the website, join the email list. All of our email subscribers get first crack at product, first crack at tickets, everything on our email list. So, and then a
Awesome.
few days later, we post on social media.
Cool,
Cool.
awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. So that was our amazing conversation with Tony Vela, the wrestling store guy, store owner guy. Um, he was, oh my God, so much fun.
Oh yeah.
This is the first time I've really gotten, like I said in the intro, to talk wrestling with someone outside of the me, Andrea, and the
That's great.
kid.
in the heart of it.
Yeah. And it was fun talking about different eras because you came in a little late.
2011.
Honestly, when I brought up that Hitman Stone Cold match, I completely forgot it got inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I just speaking from a fan watching it when it happened live,
know.
like this is amazing.
And we need to utilize that channel a little bit more and go back and watch
Yeah,
some older stuff. That
for
would be
sure.
fun.
It would even be fun to go back and watch
Ow.
that first one with Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and Triple H. Just have you watch it now as a fan, as
Mhm.
opposed to then that you weren't super into it yet, and seeing if you have a different perspective or
Oh, sure.
yeah, that'd be really cool too, because I remember that was a really fun match. But yeah, I mean, we could go back and watch some of the really, really good matches that you never saw. And yeah, luckily through the A&E thing, you've gotten to see a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
You've gotten to catch up on a lot of early stuff and early 80s, mid 80s and 90s and stuff like that.
Wrestlers used to be stabbed and shot at and cut
Rowdy,
with glass.
Roddy Piper, yeah, for sure.
Crazy. Crazy.
But yeah, I'm just it's a ton of fun, and I mean, we could have talked to him
Oh, yeah.
all night,
Mhm.
honestly. So much fun. Great hearing that story about how everything got started, and got to talk to Mount Rushmore, and that was fun to do because I know that sometimes that some people don't want to talk about it because it's just kind of cliche. But to me, I think that giving different perspectives, especially me bringing up Paul Heyman because I'm just a big Paul Heyman fan.
Yeah.
I
and
just think that
because-
he's still, I mean, he's still underrated to me as far as like he doesn't get brought up enough when people talk about wrestling as a whole, and
Mhm.
it's like he should because there's no extreme matches without what he did,
Yeah.
with ECW. There's no barbed wire stuff. There's no tables, ladders, and chairs matches and stuff like that's they're still doing today. Cage matches, stuff like that. There's none of that without
Yeah,
Paul
because
Heyman.
like for me, my Mount Rushmore would be newer people,
Which is fine.
where
Yeah.
you guys go back a little farther than
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. I mean Hogan, yeah, for sure. Vince McMahon, obviously, yeah, for
I
sure.
have
And
Stone Cold on it
Stone Cold,
for
yeah,
sure. Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley, but yeah, yeah, newer for sure.
Yeah.
China could be on there. There's no Rhea Ripley without China. You know, there's like women wrestling was a lot more because of China because she was like, no, women can do this. It's in against men, stuff like that. There's no like Liv Morgan and people like that.
The
And
Miz would be on my Mount Rushmore.
shoot, yeah, that's one of the questions I didn't ask is who should be put over more
Yeah.
because I had Miz on there, Karrion Cross, El Grande, and
I
Arcano.
wanted to bring up Karrion Cross
It's okay. We'll have
Yeah.
him on again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
for sure.
but
Awesome.
yeah, thank you for listening. We appreciate it, and we'll have all of his links and everything in there for all of
He's
you.
online too. If you're not in the area, everything's online. So.
One of these days, I need to bring this out and do like a watch party for one of our events.
Yep.
And just set all of it up. Now that we got the new computer that runs a lot better and everything, I could just set it on a table, like facing, and
Yeah.
especially when Corey can come to the next one because he's so into it as well. And
Yeah.
that'd be a lot of fun to just record that while it's going on. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that might be coming up soon, folks.
Maybe. Okay. Intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement. Make sure you check out their music and follow them on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your favorite music. If you have any questions, email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from people. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Drumming Up Conversation and on X at Drum Conversing. Listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and you can watch it on YouTube. Don't forget to download our episodes, subscribe, give us a rating, tell a friend, pass it around.
Yep.
Yeah.
For Drumming Up Conversation, I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood.
I got 2 words for you.
No
Cobra
mercy.
Kai, no mercy. Kidding. No. I thought you were going to say second. It's like, no mercy.
No.
No mercy.
There you go.
Drumming up conversation.